Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us today. We do always appreciate it when you are watching us live or afterward, either way, but we do go live every weekday starting around 1 o'clock and going throughout the afternoon, bringing you all kinds of coverage of many, many different types of stories and things that we do here. Today, we're going to be talking about Rose City Comic-Con, but more importantly, our special guest today, who is Griffin McElroy. Now, you are probably, if you were watching this, you're probably a fan of Griffin, of course, my brother and me, The Adventure Zone, all the other myriad things that he does. And he is going to be there at Rose City Comic-Con along with his brothers for some panels, for some live podcasts. And we got a chance to sit down and talk with him a little bit earlier this morning. So this is just less than a couple hours old. So got to talk to him and find out more just about his career, about what he's looking forward to with coming to Portland. And I will say during this interview, we also have a special guest of one of my coworkers joins to ask some questions as well. So let's just roll right into it. Here it is, Griffin McElroy on Fox 12 Now. Well, Griffin, it is so good to have you here on Fox 12 Now. Really appreciate you joining us here today. And, you know, I want to talk all about your career, but I mean, since you are going to be coming here to Portland for Rose City Comic-Con,
yes,
I just want to know, out of the gate, have you been to Portland before?
We have. So we've been lucky enough to do some shows in Portland in the past. It's been a little bit, but when we first started touring, Portland was one of the first cities that we came to, and it's always amazing. I adore Portland, and I always love coming up there. But we've slowed down our touring schedule since we've all been having a bunch of kids, and so it'll be nice to sort of get back out there.
Yeah, I would imagine that does slow down the touring lifestyle a little bit there.
A bit. It's tough to travel with them when they are this young, specifically to the west coast of these contiguous United States of America.
Yeah, coming from over there. Well, you know, since you are going to be back out there, you know, you're going to be doing some, in addition to coming to Rose City Comic-Con, you've got some panels, you're going to be doing live podcasts. You know, for you, doing so much online and doing all of this different work, which I don't know how you ever have time to do all of the things that you do, plus have a family. But doing all that, you know, what's that experience like going out in front of a live audience compared to what you're normally doing there?
Oh yeah, it's terrifying. We all grew up sort of doing community theater. I think that was very much like our background, and so there's an element of like comfort with doing live performance. But for the most part, like I am a homebody with a home studio that I'm speaking to you from now that I work out of exclusively, and so my human contact is pretty limited, let's say. And so when we go and we do live shows and we do cons, it really throws us into the deep end vis-a-vis human interaction very, very quickly. So it's always very, I don't know, I get very nervous about doing live shows and doing cons, but it's always an amazing experience because, you know, our relationship to the internet has changed, I would say, pretty dramatically over the past 14 years that we've been doing this. We're not as like plugged into social media anymore, and so these conventions and these shows are really like our chance to have like a face-to-face interaction with the people who listen to our show, which is always like really genuinely really special and very, very validating. And I as much as I get nervous about it, I also really, really look forward to it.
Yeah, I would imagine that is such a different, feeling there, like that visceral reaction, actually having an audience react live to what you're doing versus, as you mentioned, they're in your studio right now. It's got to be a completely different kind of thing. Well, something I want to, you mentioned that you've been doing this for so long, and I was kind of curious, just for you, what is it, other than not being on social media, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the industry that you're in over that amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the focusing just on like podcasting, like when we got started back in 2010, there were podcasts around that was sort of, we got into it because we were all fans of these podcasts, but it was a way, way, way smaller deal. Like very few people knew what a podcast was. This was like pre-Serial when like everybody started to like talk about it. It became sort of water cooler conversation topic. And now I think it is part of kind of the, media diet of the of of just about everyone. And so there's a certain legitimacy that I think is lean. I don't have to work so hard to explain to my distant relatives what it is that I do anymore, because more and more people are kind of familiar with what it is. That also means, of course, that there's like, more, I guess, competition. But we have had just a really incredible fan base since we started out doing this, that has stuck with us through hell and high water for over a decade. And so I think we're very fortunate in that we were able to get in kind of early and have a crowd of folks who really vibed with what we were doing, who have been immensely supportive. Because I know it is much, much, much more competitive to try and sort of break into the field today. I know for a fact if we tried to start doing what we do now today, as opposed to 14 years ago, it would probably be impossible. So yeah, I mean the whole media landscape has changed dramatically, but in ways that has been I don't know, kind of fun to figure out how to adapt to and move alongside as like a pretty small unit. Like we have a team of employees that we've hired over the last 5 or 6 years or so that have helped us kind of like in that endeavor. But we're a small crew making a bunch of stuff that we're really passionate about, and we've been very fortunate in that we've been able to kind of navigate those changes as they come.
Well, and I think that comes through as well. I mean, it is, as you mentioned, a small crew, but obviously it's the relationship with you and your family and that you bring in there that I think is really endearing to a lot of people. And to that extent, do you guys ever sit down and think, hey, do we want to keep doing this? Are we having fun doing this? Has it ever, are any obstacles come up to that? I mean, and I feel like that could go with anything, whether you're in a band for a long time, whether you're, anything that you're performing with somebody for a long time, even though it is family. Do you guys ever sit back and think about it?
Yeah, famously, those Gallagher brothers in Oasis, they get along swimmingly with no conflict whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, we're a family band, right? Like everything we make, more or less, is me and my brothers and our dad, and each of us have shows that we do with our wives, and a few other sort of like satellite shows that we do, kind of with people who with whom we do not share a last name. But for the most part, it is a small nuclear family sort of unit. And I mean, I would not have it any other way. It is, I have a relationship with my family that is unlike any other person that I know, in a very, very good way. Like, we are remarkably close because we talk to each other literally several times a day, every day. And there are challenges that come with that. But, I think that we have grown a lot because of those challenges. I think that we have been forced to have like conversations outside of our usual kind of like, conflict averse kind of upbringing, in order to, keep making the stuff that we like to make and continue to have the kind of relationship that we like to have. So it is definitely a challenge. I've definitely worked with people with whom I have had friction in the past and said, well, okay, maybe this thing has come to its conclusion. Mm-hmm. And we've had the conversation before we even started doing the show. Like, if this ever gets to be a real problem with our family, we pull the ripcord and we're out of it the very next day. We haven't come close to that level of full-blown Oasis meltdown. But it's basically been our, I think, superpower to this point, that we are able to make shows that are so intimate and familiar, and that we're able to kind of like let people into that.
Yeah, it is. It's bringing people into it and into what you have going there. And obviously, going so well. I feel like now that you keep bringing up the Gallagher brothers, I feel like they are like the bar for the worst family relationship in a family band. Maybe there's somebody else out there if I thought about it, but I mean, it's kind of hard to top that.
But from that conflict, we get Wonderwall.
Yeah,
Champagne Supernova. We get all the hits. So it's a worthy trade-off.
Yeah, their fight for our benefit. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
Well, Griffin, I want to say I've also got here, this is my coworker, Emmett, and for everybody watching, Emmett is here, and
Hi, Emmett.
He is a big fan of all of your work. And I wonder if it's okay if Emma asks you a couple of questions as well.
Yes, of course, please.
Yeah, so I was wondering.
Oh, let me pot you up. That was my fault, Emma. There we go. Now you're good.
Now I have audio. So I was wondering what your favorite project is out of all the ones that you've done.
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I mean, I have a very special place in my heart for the first season of our actual play D&D podcast, The Adventure Zone, that we did. It took place over like 4 years, and it was this grand storyline. We've done a whole kind of like graphic novel adaptation out of those that have been very, very have taken a lot of work, but have been very, very satisfying to make. I would say the number one thing is in 2016 we got to make a television show for the short-lived but ambitious and beautiful CISO network called My Brother, Me. That was based on our podcast, and we all got together in Huntington, West Virginia, our hometown, for like a month, and just batch shot like a whole very short season of TV, and getting to make something that we worked that hard on, that we were that proud of, in our hometown, and get to like incorporate people we grew up with and these places that we grew up with, is sort of it's as close to a dream project as I think we could have imagined, as evidenced by the fact that we have not been able to do anything even remotely like that ever again. But looking back, like, that is the thing that when I look back on and think about, like, it is unreal that we were allowed to do that in the first place, and that it turned out in a way that we were just so immensely proud of.
Yeah, are there any of those that you feel like were underappreciated?
Well, maybe you missed the part where I said the short-lived but ambitious. I think that that was very much at the vanguard of kind of like genre-specific streaming platforms that you're seeing a lot more success with today, like with Shudder, which is like just all about horror movies, or Dropout, which does like a lot of incredible comedy stuff that we've been able to do some stuff with as well. And so, like, I don't know, the critically acclaimed, commercially ignored My Brother and Me television show, I think probably fits that bill. It was ahead of its time.
Somebody needs to bring it back, obviously.
We need a second season.
Please get at us if you want to spend that much money on making another very niche television show in Huntington, West Virginia. Hey, yeah, hit me up.
And we're wondering about your 8-foot vertical leap. Where did that where did that originate?
Yeah, so that is true. That was from the aforementioned television show. We had an episode about how to punch up a job, how to punch up an application, a resume, and I created the high-tech resume of the future, which was like one of those LED marquees that you would see in like a gas station window, letting you know that they have like, Diet Pepsi for $1.99, except in the form of a resume, where I made up a few things that were maybe not entirely truthful, that have become part of my legacy, so to speak, which is a mixed bag, I would say, at best.
So what you're saying is you can't demonstrate it for us.
I could try. My ceiling is not 8 feet high. I am not doing that successful with the podcast that I have 8 foot high. I think the acoustics actually would be significantly hampered by having an 8-foot ceiling in my recording space.
It's true.
That's
true.
fair.
All right. Any other questions you want to ask?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, Griffin, I want to say thank you very much for joining us here today, too.
Yeah,
I really appreciate you having time, especially, with everything that you do have going on, and getting ready to fly out here to Portland in, gosh, less than a month. Just a few weeks, you're going to be out here. So people can go check it out and go see you in person. And now we all know that, maybe you're a little bit nervous when you're going to do that, but obviously it's because people love you and they're going to be there supporting you. So,
gosh, I hope so. Gosh, I hope that's the reason. Yes. please come out and say hi.
Absolutely. Well, Griffin, thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 12 Now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, there we go. Griffin McElroy right here on Fox 12 now. And again, Rose City Comic Con is happening September 6th through the 8th. So coming up soon. A lot happening that we've also done several interviews about the event, and we've got some more celebrity guests that are going to be joining Fox 12 now over the next couple of weeks to help promote that. So thanks to Griffin. Nice work by Emmett. Also, good questions in there. And thank you all for tuning in and joining us here on the show. So we've got more happening this afternoon. If you're watching live, we're here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. I was encourage people to tune in live if you can. You can do it on the Fox 12 Oregon app. You can watch on YouTube. You can watch on the website. But these are always available afterwards as well. We do have a little bit more on the breaking news side coming up at 1:30 p.m. because we're going to discuss this inclement weather. If you're watching here today, tomorrow it looks like it's going to be kind of crazy with some weather coming in, thunderstorms, wind, rain. We're going to find out what's exactly happening at 1:30 p.m. We have the National Weather Service joining us. So that's about 15 minutes from now that you can tune back in on whatever platform you're on, and we will have the update there. And then at 2 p.m. today, we've got Corey Feldman. So Corey Feldman is going to be joining the show, and we're going to be talking about his music, his career, and whatever else he wants to talk about. Maybe that the outfit that he had in the video that's going around. So that's all coming up at 2 p.m. as well. So lots here. We're going to take a break. We're going to regroup. I'll talk to you in just a short amount of time. I'm